The morning air was thin and quiet when the sun rose over the small coastal town. The houses were close together, built from old wood and patched metal, each one carrying the marks of many storms. The sea rested nearby, calm for now, breathing in and out like it always did. Roosters called from somewhere far away, and a soft wind moved through palm leaves with a gentle sound. In one of the smallest houses lived a young man named Michael Reyes. The house had one room, one small window, and a door that never fully closed unless it was tied with rope. Inside, there was a wooden table with one short leg fixed by a stack of folded paper. There were 2 chairs, both worn smooth by years of use. On the wall hung a faded photograph of a woman smiling, her eyes warm and tired at the same time. Michael woke before the sun each day, not because he wanted to, but because life required it. He sat up slowly on the thin mattress laid on the floor. The room smelled of salt and old wood. He stretched his arms, listening to the quiet. For a moment, he stayed still, letting his breath settle. He stood, washed his face with water from a plastic bucket, and looked at his reflection in a small cracked mirror. His face was thin, his hair always a little messy no matter how much he tried to smooth it down. His eyes were dark and steady, holding more thought than words. Michael pulled on his old shirt and stepped outside. The ground was cool under his feet. He walked toward the shore where his small fishing boat waited. The boat was old, like everything else he owned, but it floated, and that was enough. As he pushed the boat into the water, he hummed softly. He did not even notice he was doing it. The tune came naturally, like breathing. The sound carried gently over the water, then faded. Michael spent his mornings fishing. Some days he caught enough to sell. Some days he did not. When he returned, he sold what he had at the local market. People knew him there. They nodded, sometimes smiled, sometimes said nothing at all. He never complained. Complaining did not change the price of fish or the weight of the net. In the afternoons, when the sun was high and the air heavy, Michael rested. He sat outside his house, mending nets or simply watching the road. Children ran past, laughing. Old men played cards under a tree. Life moved slowly here. Sometimes, when the day was quiet, Michael sang. He sang softly at first, almost to himself. The songs were ones his mother used to sing while cooking rice or washing clothes. Songs about hope, about love, about waiting for better days. His voice was gentle but clear. It carried emotion without effort. Most people did not hear him. Those who did often paused, just for a second. They felt something shift inside, though they did not know why. Then they moved on. Michael never sang for attention. Singing was something that belonged to him alone. His mother, Maria Reyes, had been the one who first noticed his voice. When Michael was young, she would stop what she was doing and listen. Her eyes would fill with quiet pride. "You have a gift," she once told him. Michael had shrugged, embarrassed. "It's just singing." She shook her head. "No, it's more than that." But life was heavy, and gifts did not put food on the table. Maria became sick when Michael was still a teenager. Medical care was expensive. Michael left school to work full-time. He never complained then either. When Maria passed away, the house felt larger and emptier at the same time. Michael kept the photograph on the wall. He kept singing. Years passed like this. Quiet days, simple meals, small hopes. One afternoon, a woman named Sarah Collins arrived in town. She was American, with light hair pulled back into a low ponytail and eyes that watched everything carefully. She worked as a volunteer, helping small communities with education programs. She had been to many places like this, but something about this town felt different. Sarah stayed in a small guest house near the market. On her second day, she walked through the narrow roads, taking notes, listening to people talk. That was when she heard the singing. It was late afternoon. The sun was lowering, painting the sky with soft orange light. The voice came from near the shore. Calm, honest, strong in a quiet way. Sarah stopped walking. She followed the sound until she saw Michael sitting outside his house, fixing a fishing net. He did not see her. He was focused on his work, his voice flowing naturally. Sarah stood still, afraid that if she moved, the sound would break. When the song ended, there was a pause, like the world was holding its breath. She cleared her throat gently. Michael looked up, startled. He stopped singing immediately. "Sorry," he said. "I didn't mean to disturb." "You didn't," Sarah replied softly. "You did the opposite." Michael did not know what to say. Compliments were rare, and this one felt too big. "You have a beautiful voice," she said. He looked down. "Thank you." They talked for a few minutes. Sarah asked about his life. Michael answered simply. He did not add drama to his story. He did not hide anything either. Before leaving, Sarah asked, "Have you ever thought about singing for more people?" Michael shook his head. "That's not for me," she nodded, respecting his answer. But the thought stayed with her. That evening, Sarah wrote in her notebook about the singer by the sea. She did not know why, but she felt certain that his voice mattered. A few days later, she returned with a small recording device. She explained carefully and asked for permission. Michael hesitated. The idea made him uncomfortable. But something in her calm way made him agree. He sang one song. Sarah listened through her headphones, her eyes filling with quiet tears. When he finished, she thanked him and promised to send him the recording. She kept her promise. She also sent the recording to a friend back home named David Miller. David worked in community arts programs in the United States. He listened to the recording late at night, sitting alone in his apartment. He replayed it 3 times. "This is special," he said to himself. David shared it with a small group of people. One of them was Emily Parker, a producer for a modest talent showcase that focused on unheard voices. The show was not about fame. It was about stories. Emily listened carefully. She leaned back in her chair and closed her eyes. "We need to find him," she said. Months passed before Michael heard anything more. Life continued as it always had. Fishing, selling, singing alone. Then one morning, Sarah returned, smiling wider than before. "They want to hear you," she said. Michael felt his chest tighten. "Who?" "A small music program in the US. It's not what you think. No pressure. Just an invitation." The idea felt unreal. Michael wanted to say no. He wanted to stay where things made sense. But that night, he looked at his mother's photograph. He remembered her voice. "You have a gift," he agreed. The journey was long. Michael had never been on a plane. Everything felt too big, too loud. The city they arrived in was full of tall buildings and constant noise. He felt small again, like a boy. Emily met him at the studio. She spoke gently, explaining every step. There was no rush. During rehearsal, Michael almost turned back. The room was cold. The lights were bright. People watched him carefully, not unkindly, but closely. When it was time, he stepped onto the small stage. The audience was quiet. They did not know what to expect. Michael closed his eyes. He sang. The song was simple. The words spoke of longing, of loss, of quiet hope. His voice did not try to impress. It told the truth. The room changed. People leaned forward. Some held their breath. Emily felt her hands shake. David wiped his eyes. When the song ended, there was silence. Then applause. Not loud at first. Then stronger. Honest. Michael opened his eyes. He saw people standing. He saw smiles. He felt something warm spread through his chest. He bowed his head, overwhelmed. The show aired months later. People across the country heard his voice. Messages came in. Letters. Offers. Not all of them mattered. What mattered was that people listened. Michael did not become famous overnight. He did not move into a big house. He did not forget where he came from. He recorded songs. He traveled sometimes. He sent money home. He fixed his mother's house. He supported others in his town. One evening, years later, Michael stood by the sea again. The sky was calm. The air smelled the same. He sang softly. This time, the sound traveled farther. And the world listened, not because they expected something great from a poor singer, but because they learned that greatness often arrives quietly, from places no one thinks to look.